Found yourself sitting there, missing someone that you know logically was not good for you? It's one of the most confusing, gut-wrenching feelings in the world. You know you should be moving on, but there's this part of you that just aches for them. It feels crazy, right? Maybe even a little shameful. But what if I told you it's not a flaw, it's not you being weak, but a totally predictable and deeply human biological response? And then this thought creeps in. Sound familiar? It's that little whisper that comes in the quiet moments, making you second-guess everything. It's your brain just trying its best to square two conflicting things, the good memories and the awful ones. And it's that exact battle in your mind that keeps so many of us chained to a past that honestly nearly broke us. So yeah, that's the big question, isn't it? Why do we long for the very thing that hurt us? That is the mystery we're going to unravel together today. We're going to look at the clues from neuroscience, from evolutionary psychology, and we're going to get to the bottom of it. And hey, if this is the kind of stuff you're into, making sense of all the complicated parts of being human, make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. All right, our first clue, it's buried deep in our DNA. See, we are wired for connection. It's a fundamental part of who we are. But sometimes that ancient wiring gets a little glitchy in our modern world, and it can start working against us in a big way. I mean, just think about it for a second. For our prehistoric ancestors, being cast out from the tribe wasn't just embarrassing, it was a death sentence. You couldn't survive alone out there. So our brains developed this incredibly powerful primal fear of being abandoned. It's a survival instinct that literally screams at us to hold on to social bonds no matter what, even when those bonds are toxic. And this brings us to this really key idea called evolutionary mismatch. It basically means your brain's ancient alarm system can't really tell the difference between a modern threat, like leaving a toxic partner, and a primal one, like being abandoned in the wilderness. It rings the same 5-alarm fire bell, sending these life or death panic signals through your body that make leaving feel terrifyingly, viscerally unsafe. And you can see the result of that programming right here. On one side, you have a healthy bond. It's built on consistency, it builds you up, it enhances who you are. But on the other side, you have a trauma bond. It's fueled by chaos, by these dramatic highs and lows, and over time, it just chips away at your sense of self, making you feel like you need the very person who is causing the pain. Now let's get to our second clue, and honestly, this one is a huge piece of the puzzle. We're talking about the neurochemistry that turns a bad relationship into something that feels, and I mean this quite literally, like a chemical addiction. This isn't just a metaphor, folks. This is biology. And that brings us to this critical concept, the trauma bond. It's this incredibly powerful psychological attachment that feels so much like love, but it's not. It's not built on respect or care. It's a bond that's forged in this relentless cycle of pain, followed by temporary relief. And that cycle conditions your brain to connect your abuser with your own survival. This cycle right here, this is the engine of the whole addiction. It starts with this intoxicating, overwhelming affection, the love bombing, that creates this incredible high. Then comes the crash, devaluation, criticism, making you feel worthless. And that low creates this desperate craving to get the good feelings back. And then you get it. The reconciliation phase with all the apologies and promises, it gives you a little hit of that initial high, a dose of hope, before a tense, quiet calm sets in, and the whole thing starts all over again. There's a name for this in psychology. It's called intermittent reinforcement, and it is the exact same principle that makes slot machines in Vegas so unbelievably addictive. You just never know when you're going to get that payout, that moment of kindness, that apology. So you just keep pulling the lever, right? You keep taking the losses, hoping for that unpredictable reward. Your brain gets hooked, not on the person, but on the chase for that relief. Now let's look at the actual chemicals behind this. It's a potent cocktail. You've got dopamine, which fuels that addictive chase. You've got oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which makes you want to trust them and reconnect even when you know you shouldn't. You have your body's natural opioids giving you moments of pleasure. And then there's cortisol, the stress hormone that keeps you on high alert 24/7. So when you finally leave, you're not just heartbroken, you are in full-blown physiological withdrawal from all of this. Seriously, if this is starting to click for you, let us know with a like or a comment. And this just seals the deal. The science is clear. The intense pain you feel when you leave isn't a sign that you made a mistake. It is a real physical withdrawal process. It activates the exact same pathways in your brain as withdrawing from hard drugs like cocaine or opioids. So let me say it again. This is not weakness. This is neuroscience. Okay, on to our final clue. And this one is about the tricks your own mind plays on you. Because after you leave, your brain can become this totally unreliable narrator, editing your memories to make you long for what you left behind. It's a cognitive bias called euphoric recall. Basically, it's your brain trying to protect you from the full trauma of what you went through. It creates a story that's a little easier to digest, a story that might justify why you stayed for so long. But it's a dangerous mental trap that romanticizes something that was actually deeply, deeply painful. So what happens is, when you're feeling lonely, your brain cues up this highlight reel. And it's a beautiful movie, right? It's filled with all the smiles, the inside jokes, the moments that felt so good. It's a comforting film to watch. The only problem is, it's missing most of the scenes. Yeah, that mental highlight reel conveniently leaves all the bad stuff on the cutting room floor. It forgets the manipulation, the gaslighting, the constant knot of anxiety in your stomach. It edits out the criticism, the nights you spent wondering if you were going crazy, and all of those promises that were broken time and time again. Seeing the full, unedited director's cut, that's a huge step to breaking the spell. So, now that we have all the pieces, the evolutionary glitch, the chemical addiction, and the mental trap of the highlight reel, we can finally solve the mystery. And way more importantly, we can start talking about the path forward. And here is the final verdict. When you miss the person who hurt you, you are not actually missing them. You are missing the chemical high they provided. You are fighting a deep, primal survival instinct that is terrified of being alone. And you are battling a romanticized, false memory that your brain created. Understanding this is so empowering because it lets you separate your feelings from their worth. Okay, so knowing why this happens is half the battle, but the other half is actively taking back control of your story and starting the real work of healing. So where do you even start? Well, it starts by reclaiming your narrative. First, you have to acknowledge both realities at the same time. Yes, there were good moments, and it's okay to admit that. But those good moments do not cancel out the harm. That's a really tough balance, but it's crucial. Next, you have to start reconnecting with the person you were before all this happened. What did you love to do? What did you care about? It can feel a bit strange at first, rediscovering those parts of yourself, but that's where your power is. This isn't about going backward. It's about building yourself forward, stronger than before. I absolutely love this quote from Mark Manson because it just nails this whole idea. Healing from this kind of experience isn't just about recovery, it's about reinvention. You actually get to decide who you want to be now. You have this incredible opportunity to build a version of yourself that is more you than ever before. So, the final takeaway is this. The pain you feel is real, but so is your resilience. Healing is not about trying to forget the past. It's about taking what you learned and using it to reclaim your future. You survived something incredibly difficult. And now you have the beautiful, profound task of rebuilding a life that is 100% your own. If this explainer helped you today, please do us a favor and like, comment, and subscribe. Until next time, be kind to your mind.